What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is February 3rd, 2023, and today's tariff day. Market had pretty nasty drops in the future since Sunday night, and I think a lot of people may have gotten themselves into a bit of a situation today. So that's something we're going to talk a little bit about. But before we get started, guys, please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. Really trying to get to that 100,000 subscriber mark. Just so that one day I could get a play button and buy my book. It's pretty good. There's a lot of good, there's starting to be good reviews on it because people are getting through it and reading it. It's very helpful, especially if you don't get to spend time in our Discord community where we talk about this stuff all day long. Now, the one thing that we had to be cognizant of today, as far as the chart goes, and this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to force you to listen through the buy call or the call put scenario because I didn't play the call or the put scenario, even though it just didn't look good. And the reason is, and it's part of the things we have to talk about, is I couldn't get on board with feeling comfortable with calls. When we get into a situation where the market is being driven by news, especially news that can change and is changing on a minute by minute basis, it gets very uncomfortable to hold trades through their entirety. Because as you'll see in today's chart, exactly what we were afraid of ended up happening. And if you're prepared for it, you can take advantage of it. If you're unprepared for it, it could hurt really bad. So I think the goal of not just me, and I do express that to the people in our community, for today was to get in, get my money, get out so that I can be rid of the chart after that. It seemed to be the sentiment for a lot of people today. Again, today was going to be expensive, and it was. Today, a lot of people were going to have biases. Probably did. And when you get expensive and you get a bias and you're losing on a trade, you're going to get a lot of hold and hopers as well. Fortunately, today we had quite a few people that got in, got out, nice and green. Some bought calls, some bought puts. I will share with you the recording of when I took my trade. Ended up being a 32.2% win, which is great because, well, I got to be done and with my money and not have to face the rest of today's chart. So what trade did I take? Well, I'll show you, and you guys can see from here. So I had admitted to everybody this morning, not because I have a put bias normally, but for today, I just couldn't feel comfortable taking calls. Although we did have a call line here on SPY at 592.85, and on Qs, we wanted to be above 514.18. Now, on the individual charts, as soon as we got above those lines on their respective chart, they made it up to and through to their next resistances on both Qs and SPY. The problem was when Qs broke through resistance, SPY was already at resistance. And likewise, when SPY was breaking through resistance for its call line, Qs were nowhere near through resistance at that time. So there was no reason for me to take calls aside from my own feelings. So I said to everybody, guys, I'm not really excited about playing calls. And because of that, I'm just going to be patient and see if we get a reason to take puts. Now, this is a trade that we look at all the time. And admittedly, because of the way today is, how pre-market acted, how futures acted, it's very hard to not assume or think assumptions or biases or all that. I'm admitting to that. And today I had that feeling to the point where I didn't want to play calls. So I was responsible Jimmy today, and I waited for the right reason to take puts. And on any other day, I'll tell you what those reasons are. And if you watch my videos, you see those reasons all the time. Well, we broke the upward trend line on the Qs. We closed below it. And all we needed to do was breach below this resistance right here, or support. And I had a target down here, which I had an alert on my chart for support here on the Qs. That's where I was hoping to go. I got into this trade. We chopped sideways for a little bit. We did land on support on both charts at the same time, where I always recommend that people consider taking profits if they're uncomfortable. So you had several opportunities to get out when SPY and Qs worked to a nice support level. But I wanted the alert, and we got that alert on both the SPY chart and the Qs chart. That was my one and done trade for the day. And the only other trade that we talked about was we recognized that we had a bunch of buying going on right down here in this green box. And I told everybody, it's actually just above the green box. You could see the white line there. It's the put line on the Qs. I said, man, that's become a pretty strong level of support all the way back in pre-market too. But I believe if we close below it, we should be able to move down to the next line down. Now, it doesn't look like it, but on this particular chart, that was going to bring you from 512.16 to 511.21. That's almost a full dollar move. Once the Qs closed below that, we never closed back above it, and we did get down to it. So that was the only trade during a downtrend that we were hoping was going to work out. We had the benefit of a trend line to act as a resistance as well. And at the time, Qs was printing a red candle, although ADD has just been, ADD was printing a red candle. And, it just so all the things we'd normally look for were where they needed to be. That trade produced a win. After that, we found some support down there. And what happened? News. What news? Well, Mexico caved to the threat of tariffs. And when I say caved, they agreed to put some troops on the southern border to help limit or restrict the number of people that are coming across our border and making a focus on minimizing the amount of fentanyl that comes into this country. Well, the market liked that. Now, if you were holding on to puts during this, well, that hurt. But this is what we were talking about all day. The fear of, hey, the information that was fed to the market over the weekend literally can turn on a dime by one country, even if it's ours, agreeing, disagreeing, reacting to whatever the case is. And I don't want to play that game while I'm in a trade, okay? You'll never know when it's going to happen, and you can't prepare for it. So if it happens, you better have a stop loss in place and hope that it triggers to get you out of that. Okay. After that, we did a whole lot of sideways trading here. And this is just an odd market. I think we're just in a holding pattern at this point, waiting for the next round of news. And I think we're going to have days like this for several weeks, maybe. It really depends on what Canada's going to do. And you can see we have alerts down here for a trade that we were considering a while back, which was if we get below this line of support again, we were hoping to make it down to that line. And of course, we just hit it, both Qs and SPY. And ironically, they reacted exactly like we would assume they would. Why? Because that's this support right here. This double bottom is exactly what we were aiming for. It was right here on the Qs, and it was right there on SPY. So SPY hasn't actually touched it yet, but there it is. And why should you sell when you get to a level like that? Well, because look at what happened the last time you touched that level. The last two times you touched that level. Big buying, big buying. Is this time going to be different? Perhaps. Are the buyers still there trying to protect that position? It seems like it. That's why we like support and resistance. All right. So I'm going to play for you guys real quick the trade portion of the live trade. I'm not going to go over everything else. And so sit back, relax, and watch it play out if you're interested. I mean, I got to admit, I'll feel better playing puts, but I just haven't felt good enough to take the puts yet, especially with the Qs trending up. Qs did close below trend line. Yeah, I'm still blue book rat. If Qs can get below this support level and SPY below this with ADD printing red, I would aggressively take that entry for puts. I mean, that would be something I would do. Just because we would normally play this to the next support down. Now, if SPY can get down to this alert here, Qs are making me feel better now. Let's see if it drags the Spylita down. ADD is now red. I'm gonna go for it. Things are still very expensive. Q's closed below support. They broke the trend line. ADD's printing red. I'm going to see if we can get SPY to drop a bit here. I'm only going to be... come down and touch that level. I got my order ready to go to get out. And I'm going to get ahead and take my profits now. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Pretty interesting day, all things considered. Technicals weren't working all that great just because of how skittish the market is. If you happen to get lucky and be holding on to some trades while we moved up or down or anything like that, congratulations. A lot of people feel very uncomfortable in today's market, and that's understandable. Sadly, I think we're going to get quite a few days of this, but hopefully we could just get our little piece of the pie each of these days and not have to face the risk that is these days. But if you got any useful information out of this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, we'd love to have you. There's links down below. And if you'd like to join, my book club, it's not really a club, but if you'd like to buy my book, it's right here. And today we will only have one video. But thank you guys again for everything. Thank you for watching. Till tomorrow, I love you guys. See you.